Ich habe The Outer Worlds nochmal schnell durchgespielt, kurz vor dem Release des zweiten Teils. Ich bin da einfach voll durchgeprügelt und habe mir einfach die beiden Enden erspielt. Und damit ihr das nicht noch machen müsst, so knapp vor dem zweiten Teil, fasse ich euch jetzt kurz zusammen, was man da so erlebt. Los geht's.
Initiate skip jump.
Wir starten in einem Raumschiff namens Hope, so heißt übrigens meine Katze, und werden von einem leicht verwirrt wirkenden Wissenschaftler aus einem 70 Jahre langen Kyroschlaf geholt. Denn das ganze System steht kurz vorm Kollaps. Die Wirtschaft bricht zusammen, die Leute hungern und der Konzernrat, das sogenannte Board, will die Probleme einfach aussitzen, indem sie tausende Kolonisten weiter eingefroren lassen.
You'll wake up in a perfect society designed to maximize your productivity with guaranteed full employment. With only a minor term of service, you will become the master of your own destiny when you go out of this world to the Halcyon Colony.
Wir werden auf dem Planeten Terra 2 abgeworfen und landen zufällig direkt blöderweise auf dem Captain des Raumschiffs, was uns eigentlich durch die Weltgeschichte bringen sollte. Das heißt also so viel wie, wir müssen die Führung des Schiffs übernehmen, weil der Captain jetzt Matsche ist. Blöderweise muss das aber erst repariert werden, welch ein Zufall, und das führt uns dann in die Stadt Edgewater, wo wir uns in unserem ersten großen Konflikt für eine Seite entscheiden müssen. Edgewater, wo wir auch unseren ersten Begleiter Parvati treffen, oder einer Gruppe Deserteure, die den Rat nicht mehr hörig sein will und sich in einem alten Botaniklabor niedergelassen hat. Wir brauchen nämlich ein Bauteil für unser Raumschiff, was die Stadt Edgewater bzw. die Botaniker mit Strom versorgt. Und genau das ist dann der Entscheidungspunkt. Wem stellen wir jetzt den Strom ab? Haben wir uns um den Planeten Terra 2, um Edgewater und so weiter gekümmert, geht's zurück aufs Schiff und wir können durch das System reisen. Als nächstes führt es uns dann auf die Groundbreaker, eine riesige Raumstation, die noch halbwegs unabhängig vom Rad ist. Dort treffen wir dann auf Gladys, die uns einen wichtigen Navigationsschlüssel verkaufen will, der nur schlappe 10.000 Bits kostet und den Phieneas aber unbedingt für seine Pläne benötigt. Naja, gesagt, getan. Wenn wir das dann geschafft haben, geht's Richtung Monarch, ein weiterer Planet im System. Angekommen auf Monarch brauchen wir Zugang zum wichtigsten Funkturm des Planeten, der sich auf dem Devil's Peak finden lässt, um wichtige Daten für Phieneas' Rettungsplan zu senden. Also reisen wir auch dorthin, auf den Devil's Peak, wo wir dann einen Informanten von Phieneas treffen und uns von einem Problem mit dem Turm erzählen lassen, was auch sonst. Dummerweise wird dieser nämlich von zwei sich streitenden Fraktionen blockiert, weswegen wir wieder ein bisschen mitmischen müssen und die Fraktionen entweder gegeneinander ausspielen müssen oder sie irgendwie dazu bringen, Frieden zu schließen. Und wenn auch das dann endlich erledigt ist, geht's weiter nach Byzantium. Diese Kolonie ist die Stadt der Reichen. Alles ist sauber, jeder trägt nette Kleidung. Das ist eigentlich genau das Gegenstück zu der Welt, die wir draußen vorher gesehen haben. Ab hier spitzt sich dann auch das Ganze zu. Wir finden heraus, was der Rat wirklich plant. Er will nämlich die Kolonie nicht retten, sondern, welch eine Überraschung, nur den Luxus für die wenigen Reichen sichern, die da noch rumlaufen.
Good afternoon. I'm Chairman Rockwell, and I'm here to address a serious issue facing us. As you all know, our colony has been successful beyond our wildest dreams. Unfortunately, we've recently discovered that our food supply will not be able to sustain Halcyon's population in the long term. Everyone will die. Everyone will slowly stop living from malnutrition. But we're doing it together, and that's what matters. I fucking swear, if someone doesn't give me something to read that will placate the masses soon, all of you will find yourselves violently unemployed.
Nachdem wir da dann so ein bisschen herumgestöbert haben und ein bisschen was herausgefunden haben, erfahren wir, dass Phieneas eine seltene Chemikalie braucht, die das Auftauen der Kolonisten überhaupt erst möglich macht. Das Blöde daran ist auch wieder da, dass das Zeug unter strengster Bewachung steht und in einem Hochsicherheitslabor des Boards aufbewahrt wird. Was bleibt uns also übrig? Reinschleichen, das Zeug klauen und wieder raus. Nun kommen wir dann mit dem Zeug in der Tasche zurück auf unser Schiff und bringen das Ganze zu Phieneas. Und an dieser Stelle können wir uns dann auch schon das erste Mal entscheiden, ob wir dem Rat die Koordinaten von Phieneas schicken oder mit Phieneas zusammen einen Plan aushacken und die falschen Koordinaten zum Rat schicken. Egal wie wir es machen, am Ende kommt der Rat zu Phieneas seinem geheimen Labor. An dieser Stelle war der Rat uns dann etwas voraus und hat Phieneas Wells gefangen genommen und im Hochsicherheitsgefängnis auf Tartarus eingesperrt. In der finalen Quest müssen wir uns dann entscheiden, ob wir die Hope, also da wo die ganzen Kolonisten drauf eingefroren sind, zu Phieneas bringen, damit er sich darum kümmern kann, dass die alle nach und nach wieder aufwachen. Oder aber wir bringen das Schiff dann zum Rat, der sich dann darum kümmert, dass die ganzen Leute, die da drauf sind, eben nicht mehr aufwachen.
Captain,
You have an uncanny talent for complicating my life. You've been working with Dr. Wells from the beginning. When we moved to arrest him, he was prepared. I lost good soldiers in the attempt. You've disrupted the balance of power. You've upset the natural order of things. You've introduced uncertainty, and there is nothing I despise more than uncertainty. Do you imagine you're leading some grand revolutionary army? You're nothing but a rabble-rouser. I'm going to put an end to your little rebellion, and then I'm going to have you and your associates arrested. I have no intention of dying on Tartarus, Captain. Not when there's so much work left to do. I admit I miscalculated the extent of your influence. The board's plan never accounted for you. This is a mistake I intend to correct. I have Dr. Wells in my custody. Once I've secured his cooperation, I can move forward with the program. I can repair the damage you've done. I can set things right. Well, that's mostly correct. You're not leaving here at all. I take no pleasure in this, you know. I simply have no other option. Leaving you alive is too great a risk. Goodbye, Captain. If you insist. This prison is equipped with an automechanical warden. I've had it programmed to eliminate you on sight and rinse your remains down a drain. And don't worry. I will inform Dr. Wells that you died heroically or something.
Und wir sehen jetzt hier noch die Endszene von dem Ende, wo ich mich entschieden habe, Phieneas zu retten und ihm das Schiff zu bringen. Oh. Was soll das denn? Ruf beim Vorstand gesenkt. War das der Vorstand oder was hier? Das war Dings. Sophia! Ohne Reden? Ja, ich lass dich schon raus jetzt.
I can hardly believe my eyes. You didn't have to do this, you know. Risk your life just to save mine. I'm all right. Akande wanted my cooperation, and she was prepared to beat it out of me. If you hadn't arrived, I might have given it. You've left the board in tatters, but Halcyon is still on the verge of starvation. I just hope we're not too late. You and I are going to have to work harder than ever to save Halcyon. I'm afraid the situation is far worse than any of us ever anticipated. Earth has gone dark. We haven't received a single message in 3 years. There's been no communication, no signals, nothing. 2 years ago, the Earth's Directorate's frigate disappeared on their way back to Earth. We don't know what they discovered when they arrived, or if they arrived at all.
So we've got to make do on our own. Seems to me that'll make us stronger in the end anyhow.
You're quite right. We've got no choice but to make do on our own.
You mean we're all alone out here? Really alone?
I'm afraid so, Miss Holcomb. Halcyon is the only home we have left. Returning to Earth is no longer an option. Earth isn't going to help us. No one's going to help us now. We're alone out here, and I don't know if we're going to survive. I had hoped your fellow colonists might hold the key to saving Halcyon, but I don't have nearly enough chemicals to revive them all. I'll do what I can. I just hope it's not too late. It's time I return to my lab. I'll try to save as many of the Hope's colonists as I can. You're under no obligation to help me. You've done enough already. Thank you. I'm going to need all the help I can get. I know I've asked too much of you already. I revived you into a strange and unfamiliar colony. I put your life at risk. I made you an accomplice to my own ends. We were going to save this colony, you know. That's what I told myself when I pulled you from the Hope. You and I were going to set everything right. Now, I don't know what to think. Earth is gone, and we're going to need a miracle to survive another generation. I always suspected Halcyon might collapse one day. I just thought we would have more time.
The OSI teaches that everything in the universe happens according to the grand plan. But the stranger that arrived in Halcyon was an unplanned variable. From the moment he landed in Emerald Vale, his actions altered the course of history. The events on Tartarus brought about the end of the board's authority. But the board's mistakes would haunt the colony for decades to come. The damage they left behind would require the work of a generation to repair. Dr. Phineas Wells began reviving a handful of the Hope's colonists. Engineers, scientists, technicians, and intellectuals. They were among the brightest minds the Earth had ever sent out into the stars. The Hope scientists and engineers woke up in a colony descending headlong into total collapse. With no way to return to Earth, they had no choice but to band together and devote themselves to the cause of saving Halcyon. The people of Halcyon were nothing if not hardy. In the absence of the board's authority, many of the colony's settlements banded together with a single purpose in mind: survival. Life was especially hard in the years to come. Some towns dissolved by attrition and starvation, but most of them found a way to carry on. In the years to come, Halcyon was forced to reckon with its newfound freedom. The board was gone, and for better or worse, the colony was responsible for its own destiny. Left unchecked, the war on Monarch consumed both MSI and the Iconoclasts. And when the sulfur cloud settled, only stragglers from both factions remained. Some found their way to Sublight, some to Terra 2, and some lived their final years fighting for food in the wilderness. In the end, only the beasts remained. Adelaide McDevitt replaced Reed Thompson as the leader of Edgewater. She and her followers transformed Edgewater in their image. Anyone loyal to Reed was pressured into leaving town, and those who stayed behind adapted to her way of life. Adelaide transformed the old cannery into a new garden. The nearby Edgewater Cemetery provided a convenient source of fertilizer. Junlei Tennyson fought to protect the Groundbreakers' independence. While the board's influence faded, mechanical difficulties forced her to rely on parts that only corporations could provide. The cost was high, and time would tell if Junlei could balance the work with her aspirations for a better future. The rediscovery of the Hope and the abandonment of the Lifetime Employment Program forced Byzantium to come to terms with some uncomfortable realities about the state of Halcyon. While Byzantines were reluctant to surrender the luxuries they'd grown accustomed to, the board's diminished authority gave them little choice in the matter. Nearly everyone had to learn to make do with less. Some even had to get jobs. It was a dark time indeed. Life in Halcyon was sobering for Felix Millstone. The grand revolution he dreamed of never came. There was no great awakening for the colony, no celebrations in the streets. There was only the hard, desperate work of trying to repair a broken colony. Felix never had a head for numbers, but if there was labor to be done, he was there to help. Eventually, Felix realized that the work of a revolution was done with two hands. Though Parvati eventually grew comfortable aboard the Unreliable, she never quite came out of her shell. And she often wished aloud that her dad was still alive to teach her about the finer points of starship care and maintenance. While the colony fell into chaos, she found an island of relative peace with Ada, and they formed an unusual bond. She decided to remain aboard the Unreliable permanently as its chief and sole engineer. As hard as she tried to drink them away, Nyoka's memories eventually overcame her. Traveling with the crew served as a constant reminder of the family she'd lost, and so she eventually returned to Monarch to get back to what she found most comfortable: the deep end of a bottle and the far end of a trail. Few have seen her since, but travelers often swear they hear her and her machine gun in the night, screaming swears and spitting bullets. Before his untimely death, Captain Alex Hawthorne had plans to restore and modify, for combat purposes, a sanitation and maintenance automechanical that he'd found in a state of disrepair in Emerald Vale's scrapyard. That unit remains broken down and forgotten in the Unreliable supply closet to this day. Minister Clark was released from house arrest, and his contact with you gave him a sense of renewed purpose and vigor. Once it became clear that no help would be coming from Earth, he threw his considerable efforts and talents into helping Halcyon manage the crisis before it. As for Dr. Phineas Wells, he spent his remaining years in his orbital lab. He was never able to come to terms with his own past, troubled by the decision of placing all his faith in the first colonist he ever revived, the infamous Captain of the Unreliable. The revival project yielded mixed results. Phineas, weighed down by limited support and his own guilt, struggled to revive more than a handful of scientists and engineers. They made a heroic effort to solve the colony's problems, but with small numbers and facing long odds, their solutions never caught on. Only a few of the Hope's colonists were successfully revived. Wells died before he could see the fruits of his labor. He passed away a haunted man, crushed by the guilt of his failures. Small, petty factions squabble over what remains of the colony. Every attempt to reach out to Halcyon's neighbors is met with silence. And what about you, the unplanned variable in the history of Halcyon? Long after Wells passed away, you carried on his work with more energy, determination, and brilliance than he could ever muster. The years that followed were hard, but Halcyon survived by the efforts of the Hope's most promising colonists, the greatest of which was you. No one knows what's happened to Earth, and no one knows what the future has in store for Halcyon. All we know for certain is this: the name of the Unreliable and that of its intrepid captain will remain the subject of countless stories for years to come.